And I'll start with you, Roger. Your team comes into this very important race for the team, not where you want to be in the standings. What have been the biggest challenges for you so far this season?
Well, first off, thank you everybody, and welcome to Homestead, a place I know quite well from my time here in IndyCar. Yeah, it's been a tough start for us. I mean, 2 DNFs due to reliability issues wasn't something that we experienced in 2 previous seasons, so that's a new one for us. And then 2 DNFs due to collisions. I think one that we were an innocent victim to, and one that we caused ourselves. Yeah, it's been a tough start for us, but you know, when I think back to the title-winning championship year of season 9, we had a run of races with Jake where we scored no points, and I think there was 4 in a row, and we were still able to pull it all together at the end of the year and come away as world champions. So yeah, we raised the fight, but you know, my 2 competitors next to me are going to do everything they can to prevent us, and we know that it's not easy out there, and I think season 9 and the circumstances are a little different to what we face here today. But yeah, ever confident that we can raise our game and be super competitive one more time.
I see you in the standard red team kit. We've seen Jake and Nico walking around the paddock in a completely new vibe, and we saw the new livery this morning. Can you talk us through the sort of Miami vibe Andretti car we've got? Yeah,
sure. I mean, it was something that I was super keen on us doing. I didn't meet too much resistance with doing a livery update. It's something that we looked at doing in previous races here in the US. In Portland, we had a sort of acknowledgement to the July 4th weekend that we raced over last year with the Stars and Stripes logo, and we felt, you know, the Miami theme would be super cool to do here. We did it the best way. We put it to the fan vote. You know, we had 2 different choices, a dark blue and a more of a Miami blue in my view. I personally am super happy that we got the Miami colours in. I think it's a nod to the state that we've got a lot of love for here at Andretti. We've raced here in many, many occasions across the years in multiple different championships, been super successful here. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun to do, and, you know, there's a lot of fun things in Miami as well. So we're just very happy to have it, and you know, we'll see if we carry it on. I'm going to have a chat with our ownership group when they show up later on, and maybe we can do something new for somewhere else.
It's a big weekend for the ownership group, actually. You've fed into that very, very nicely, because from coast to coast in the United States, it's a sort of kind of huge weekend of racing, and I believe your drivers are flying straight off to go and join in with what's going on at Long Beach. Just give us a sort of explanation as to the wider picture.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as we're now part of the TWG Motorsport Group, which encompasses not only the Andretti Global team, so IndyCar, Indy Next, and Formula E, but also Spire Motorsport, so Craftsman Truck and NASCAR Cup team, which are racing tonight, hopefully, if the rain holds off in Bristol. We've then got Wayne Taylor Racing, which is part of the group, racing in Long Beach in IMSA, and then our IndyCar team, and ourselves obviously racing tomorrow, and then our IndyCar team racing on Sunday in Long Beach as well. So Dan Towis is going to try and take in all of those, and I think he's got a Dodgers game on his agenda as well for Saturday night when he lands in LA, because the Dodgers are also part of our ownership portfolio. So yeah, super busy weekend for us, but it's a great opportunity for us to talk about all the different platforms we're involved with.
And hopefully you can get that mad trip off to a very positive start this weekend.
That would be super nice, yeah, to send Jake away or Nico with the trophy. Yeah, we'd love that.
Of course. Thank you very much, Roger. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end. I'll move on to Sylvain. Envision had a couple of good results here in the US last time out. Obviously a different track to Portland. What are you expecting this weekend, and what may be the challenges you're foreseeing?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we are back, from what we can see, we are back at one of these wide open tracks, which created some interesting racing last time around in Portland and other cities. So yeah, it's going to be one of these Formula E races where energy management is really important, and you know, qualifying is one thing. It's easier to understand. Go as fast as you can. The race is going to be very strategic and really around the energy management. So yeah, should be interesting. And then obviously a very different type of track that we are normally used to. So, but great to be back here. Not that it's relevant to this, but as a team we've had huge success in the US over the years, and then love being here. And yeah, looking forward to it.
You've also maybe struggled a little bit this season. Can you put your finger on where the problems have occurred, and maybe you've obviously had an extended break now, what you've done to go about putting those things right?
Yeah, it's quite similar to what Roger said, but we have a car that is significantly new and upgraded with our friends at Jaguar. And we've had a lot of reliability issues over the beginning of the season, right? We had a car that didn't start in Sao Paulo. Then we were looking really fast and competitive in Mexico, but then both our cars were disqualified for software infringement. So when you start at the back in Mexico, you can't really do much. It's difficult to overtake. I think our race would have looked very different if we had started near the front. And then in Jeddah, we've had problems after problems on the car side, which means we've done very little meaningful running. So basically, we have to get on top of that, really understand this new car, make it reliable, and then once we do that, we can extract performance. But similar to what Roger said, in season 9 when we won the championship, we started also with a car that we did not understand very much either, right? It was a very steep learning curve. So I'm very hopeful that this is a package we are going to race this year and next year. So there's an awful lot of races to get on top of it. So I'm quite hopeful that rapidly we get on top of this, and then we can show our speed.
Has the extended break been useful for you? It comes at a good time to maybe look at a few things and come to this race here in Miami with a few maybe answers to questions you were asking before but didn't maybe get around to answering?
Yes, it's been very useful. It's never a nice feeling to have a bad weekend where nothing really works and then we have a lot of time to think about it. But we've been able to go testing and validate a lot of things. And so on one hand, the lack of track testing at races means there's only so much you can do. But on the flip side, testing plus all the stuff we can do at the factory was very helpful. So I'm hopeful we have hopefully solved a lot of these issues and we can show something much better here. And then it's an iterative process. We keep on improving and doing better. But yeah, hopefully we'll be nice and ready for all these races coming up in quick succession, which is going to be really exciting for everyone.
You've got two of the most experienced drivers in your lineup with Seb and Robin. How do you keep them motivated when maybe things aren't going the way that the team want?
They are very motivated. It's not really a problem. We are lucky in Formula E to have these fantastic drivers pretty much depend on the grid, and they are all desperate to win and do well. They know that they have a car that can be super competitive and they can deliver the goods. So, it's not really a problem. If anything, they are a huge part of the solution. Like when we do this testing and finding all these solutions to all these problems of a new car, it's not just the engineers. The drivers have a big part of it in telling us what they think is wrong and what can be better and so on. So, yeah, hugely motivated. They want to do well. They want to show what they can do. But to be fair, in this championship, we don't really have an issue with that. It's highly competitive, and I think that's why the fans like it so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Move on to you, Phil. I mean, obviously, DS Penske had a pole position and a podium last time out in Portland. That was an energy-sensitive race. This is going to be an energy-sensitive race here in Miami. How confident are you that you can get the better of the two gentlemen to your right and the other teams that are all battling out to get a victory here in Miami for the first time in 10 years?
Okay, so you've given the other guys some quite tricky questions, so I'm hoping mine are a bit easier, but that's not a bad one to start. So,
what's your favourite colour? No, it's okay.
Orange.
Okay, good.
Main thing.
But not papaya.
No, not quite papaya. More ginger. So I think the main thing to say in terms of what's your view coming here again. So you mentioned Portland, US race. This is a big part of our family here, obviously. We've got a big kind of contingent of US staff. So this is a home race for the Penske part of a big part of our team. So that's a really exciting thing here. Great to show your friends and family around the garage and get a real good view of what they've invested in. So that's the first thing. In terms of confidence, we've got a feel-good factor here. I don't like to predict where you'll come at race weekends because Formula E, I've lost some of that orange hair over the years. I've done lots of racing. And I can tell you that Formula E is so tight. It's a very, very close championship. So you can't predict from one day to the next. You've got to be absolutely on it with so many little parameters to deliver well. And these two guys have been talking about those little bits of reliability or little issues. You have those and it drops you down. You just put the weekend, all the little bits together and you fly. So you can't predict from one day to the next. You've just got to deliver the best you can every time with the team. And that's what we're aiming to do. There's a feel-good factor because we're at home, a lot of us, and we'll go out and do what we always do and try and put the best weekend we can.
Given the rivalry with Penske and Andretti, how much does that factor into the enjoyment of maybe getting one over on each other?
Well, I'll definitely have a thumb war with Roger later. But I think when you're in the racing spirit, you're not thinking about the other guys. You're thinking about just delivering the best you can. But these are fierce competitors. These are really strong teams next to us. You know, ex-champions, both of them, very recently. So you know that you're racing against strong people. You have a very healthy respect. But like you say, you want to go and beat them. You know, I want to win that thumb war. We want to win it on track as well. And that's what's fantastic about racing.
Can we televise this thumb war?
Maybe.
I mean, there's UFC in Miami on Saturday night. Actually, this could be like on the preliminary card, maybe in the
Maybe
Octagon.
we could do one here and then one in Long Beach as well. Because
I'll be
there.
Yeah. I'll be the referee. That's going to be great.
Yeah. I like that. I like that
You can be the
idea.
referee.
We've seen Jean-Eric have some very consistent performances, top 10 performances this year. What does it take to turn those top 10 performances into podiums?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on it before. You've just got to put all those little bits together. Jev was the qualifying champion, if we call it, last year, won the qualifying award. So he was regularly putting himself in that position to score big results. But of course, the races are very difficult. And perhaps if we look back at last year, we didn't race as well as we qualified. This year, we've been chipping away at the race scenario, so you hope all those little learnings that you do start to deliver. But it's so tight. You've got to put everything together. And as Sylvain mentioned, this is going to be a very, very strategically tricky race. It really is. And so you can do the absolute best job in all your preparation. You've got to make that split-second decision right 2 or 3 times at key points in the race, and you can win. You get one of those wrong, you drop. So the short answer is he's put himself in the right place. We've just got to deliver and have a really good race, and there you go.
It's a game of fine margins. Thank you very much. We have time for a few questions in the room. If you'd like to ask a question, wave at me or tap me on the shoulder.
Jack Smith, Motorsport Week. A question for all three of you. Now that Formula One has announced that it's not going ahead with reintroducing V10 engines at the earliest 2029, do you think that further electrification in that helps Formula E's stature grow as a result, or do you think that V10s would have helped set FE apart in a more positive way?
Who's going first? I can have a go. So I lived in F1 for a long time, and I can remember my ears ringing with engine noise, and that's both an excitement at times, but it's definitely not a technology that we're pushing, and we're so exciting with the work that we do here with the tech. So for me, a lot of the work in the MG and inverter is fantastic, and I've really enjoyed that tech. So to kind of answer your question, setting ourselves apart, I'm really pleased that we focus on this really cool tech here. So I'm not so bothered what they do, but I'm really keen that we continue to push the tech like we are, which is an amazing thing, and we're really pushing that green frontier as a championship, and individually as manufacturers and teams, we're doing a great job of that. So I think we've got a good thing going, and so they can make their choices, but we should keep pushing along what we're doing.
Yeah, really quickly to add to that, we have the one thing we don't have a problem with in Formula E is the roadmap. Like, we are really clear where we're going and what we're doing and so on. For Formula One, it's there's a lot of a bit of head scratching on which technology to use. But having said that, you also have a lot of cross pollination across motorsport, right? And then so they'll be learning from some of the stuff we developed in Formula E for their new 350 kilowatt electric part of it. And on the flip side, they also have resources that we don't have, and we can also learn from it. So that's the beauty of motorsport as a very small world where everyone developing new things is good. And ultimately, I was saying at a panel recently, I think it's a brilliant time to be in motorsport at the moment, because you get such a wide range of racing in such a wide range of technology, Formula One with synthetic fuels, some level of electrification, which is interesting, us fully electric, then projects for hydrogen in Le Mans and whatever. You have such a wide range of powertrain systems, propulsion, fuel sources. I can't remember another time in racing where that happened. All in different formats, endurance, sprint, Formula E. So I think we need to also be appreciative. We realize we live in a really great and fast, innovative time in racing, and I think we should enjoy it.
I mean, like Phil, I spent a few years in Formula One and certainly remember standing on the pit wall with my ears ringing in pain from the V10s as they came past. But, I think we all move on, and, the V10 is very much an emotional experience. Maybe not that well known to this room, but there is a limit to how far Formula One can go with electrification. And we're the only single-seater championship in the world that can be 100% electric. So that's something we stay true to. It's at our core of our DNA. And like Phil said, I mean, the technology that we see today in the Formula E cars rivals anything out there that's also racing. So we're very happy with where we are. I think, being independent of what Formula One does is great for us. So, we'll stay true to our path and, let them decide what they want to do.
Thank you very much. Anyone got a very quick question to follow up with? Dominic?
Dominic Wild, Racer.com. A question for Roger. You mentioned about Andretti's tough start to the year, but you've had a bit of a break now, time to reset, and you're coming straight in with this big home race. Does that provide you with an additional boost or any extra pressure? How is it for the team coming straight back to Miami?
I mean, for me personally, you know, coming to race in the US, you're only putting pressure on yourself if you allow that to happen. You know, this race doesn't give us any more points than racing in Jeddah or racing in Mexico City. It's just the same. So, you know, yeah, they've got a few more eyeballs on us from the ownership. You know, they would dearly love us to be up there on the podium and hopefully on the top step. But, you know, we approach it like every other race weekend. So, you know, we know the guys have spent a lot of time analysing where we were at in Jeddah and prior races. So hopefully we've come away with some new learnings, which we'll see tomorrow or even this afternoon. No, we're confident in the break and how we've used it. But do we put the pressure on ourselves? No, I don't think so.